trans doctors make it seem like gender dysphoria in children is like a death sentence. So if
That's
it is a diagnosis like cancer, let's say,
that's right.
you
Yep.
would go to other doctors. So if the parents to these children are, innocent and they don't know what to do, why wouldn't they go to other doctors?
Hey everybody! Oh my God! Why don't you see who I caught today? Well, you can see him. You can already see him, so it's not a surprise. But that being said, thanks everybody for joining us today. I'm super excited about this interview. I've known Marcus for a long time, and we're super close. I think. And that being said, I never really got to do an interview with him. So, I'm doing the interview for many reasons, but one of the reasons I also wanted to really get this interview out is because my last interview with Nalia, the trans woman, and there were some issues there. So I want to also bring on Marcus. Not that we're going to talk about that. Who cares, right? But that being said, if you want to, you're allowed to address that. But that being said as well, thanks for liking, subscribing, doing all those things. You're really making this channel go crazy. Marcus's channel is killing it, by the way. So again, I think of Marcus as I sort of feel like his grandpa on so many levels, and I really care about this guy a lot, and I care about his voice, and I care about him as a human. And he's a super smart kid, and he's just his trajectory is going up, up, up. We have hope because of people like him, just so you all know. So that being said, that's my introduction to Marcus. Hey, Marcus.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're so sweet. Look how handsome he's looking. I'm just like my kid is growing up. As I totally feel like that's so weird. But
I've changed a little bit since the last time we saw each other. Yeah.
you changed a lot. I see everything changing. And also I just see the brightness in you, dude. Especially your generation of these trans kids are so insane. You're just so grounded and calm and everything.
I try to be, but thank you.
You are. Trust me. Compared to me, I'm like, ah! So let's talk a little bit about where you well, first I want you to introduce yourself. Maybe some people don't know who you are out there. I'm sure they might, but there might be one or two. So why don't you first introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm 24 and I live in Denmark, Europe. So I'm not American and I'm not planning on moving. I'm just making YouTube videos 3 times a week, talking about the same stuff that you talk about. And oh yeah, I'm trans. uh,
Don't forget that.
don't forget that. So yeah, I'm a biological female, and I've been on testosterone for 4.5 years.
Wow.
Got top surgery, a hysterectomy, a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm all done with my transition, and I make videos about the trans community and being against children transitioning, especially.
Yeah, I know. That's why I love you, dude, because your voice as a young person. Also Marcus, besides Blaire, really encouraged me to start my channel. It's because of these guys that I really decided to put my time and energy into this, and it's been really great. And one of the great things I think about YouTube, my friend, but I knew you before I started my channel, is I think there's a community here of us, right? People like him and Blaire, and some other people that we're very like-minded transsexual people, and I think on some level that's what people are starting to see us. I mean, they see you. Your channel blew up, dude. You're killing it. Seriously. I'm very proud of you. I really am, because it takes a lot of work to do this, and I don't know if people really understand the amount of work we put into this. So let's talk a little bit about you growing up in is that where you grew up, in Denmark?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And so as a kid, were you a tomboy, or tell me a little bit about your childhood?
sure. I I wasn't necessarily a tomboy growing up. I played with dolls, but I also played with Legos. We invented that, and I
Brilliant.
I played. I have an older brother, and we were close when I was very young,
Mhm.
and I was known like as a child. I was known for playing with both the boys and the girls. But when I became older, I had long curly hair. I
Mhm.
wore dresses and
Mhm.
loved makeup to some degree, and
Mhm.
but I've always had a very big lack of inner peace, and I never knew growing up what it was.
Mhm.
So yeah, when I was around 15, 16, I discovered what transsexualism is. I've never heard of trans people growing up. I've
Yeah.
only heard of gay, bi, and drag queens, but that's not the same. So yeah, I had no idea what it was, and
Yeah.
then I s- in private I identified as a trans guy.
Mhm.
First, I actually identified as genderqueer for
Mhm.
like 2 seconds until I realized that it only exists on the internet. Um, but yeah, and then then I founded the trans guy identity label, and
Mhm.
I wasn't sure at the time when I was 16 if that was me, but I was like, I'll just privately identify as such, not
Mhm.
tell anyone. I can maybe change my clothes a little bit. And if it's not me, I can always go back. And I never did. And then I was in the closet, uh,
Mhm.
or I didn't tell anyone for quite a while. My family, I didn't come out until a year later.
Mhm.
But I told my friends and my coworker at the time,
Mhm.
um, yeah, within that year. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Were you on were you on the internet when this was all coming around for you? Or how did you sort of discover the trans kind of thing? Were there other people around you doing it, or was it mostly did you discover it from the internet?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did discover it on the internet, I guess, because
Yeah.
so I live in a very small country, five and a
Yeah.
half million people, I think.
Yeah.
And, uh, you don't you so yeah, I'm 24, and when I was a kid, you didn't hear much about trans people.
That's right.
And we're kind of so the culture here, we're kind of like you, but just far behind.
Yeah.
So that's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did discover it online, and I tried to be a part of the online trans community in my country, but yeah, that didn't work out. I didn't.
Yeah.
There was a lot of negativity, and they the trans activists here, they were just so angry at the system,
Mhm.
and I didn't understand it. I just
Right.
they made it seem like the system is against trans people.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
and doctors, and it's just without like I didn't know, like maybe they were right. I was only 16. I didn't so, and there
Mhm.
was actually this older trans guy who was famous at the time, and
Mhm.
so I technically I should have trusted him,
Mhm.
but my gut told me otherwise. Like, these people are miserable, and that's fair, that's valid, but I don't think it's everybody else's fault. So yeah.
But that's your stance to this day, and I think it's why I connected to you as a youngster because you're not angry like that, and you're really, really solid in your transition, and you are a transsexual ma there is just no doubt about it. I can feel it, I know it, I have a connection to watching you, and so I think that's the reason why for me as well, I didn't connect to the community. It's always sort of been a little bit angry and a little bit like that, even back in the day when we had a little community. But I think it got worse, and then it got to this space where everybody's like, "We don't have anything," and I'm like, "You actually have what you need. Really, you have hormones, you can get surgery, and then you're supposed to move on." I think that's one of the problems I see is nobody's moving on, right? I feel like got your situation taken care of, whatever was going on with you, you got it taken care of, you did the hormones, and then you just moved on. You became Marcus,
Oh,
right?
100%. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm realizing this more and more like today, because it sometimes I forget I'm trans, and it's not because I forget that I'm a biological woman.
Yeah,
Like, I haven't got bottom surgery. I will never get it. So I am reminded every single day of
that's right.
being a woman, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I forget I'm trans, like the identity that we hear so much today. And sometimes if I talk to other people, it's like, oh wait, I can I can use this.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, I forget I'm a minority. Like I know, but I forget it sometimes. You know.
Thank God. That's why you're successful, my friend. It's with any kind of anything, right? Any sort of thing that you're not normal, whatever that even means, right? But anything you have that you have to adjust to the rest of society, the whole goal is to forget you have it or to live with it in a way that makes your life happy, not live with it as anger. I do feel the new trans space is so angry about first off, they talk. They're they're just all over the place, dude. They're like trans joy, happy, happy, but I'm angry. What is it? Are you angry? Are you happy?
Right. They're
It's
not joyful. Let's just leave it at that.
so that being said, so now you transition and you're sort of living your life and what's happening in that space? Is your family okay? Your friends? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I I only socially transitioned when I was 16 and 17, I
Hmm.
guess. And I lived as Marcus without any medical transition for like
Oh,
3 years.
okay.
It's hard to like count the extent,
Sure.
right? But so I only changed my wardrobe
Hmm.
and my hair,
Hmm.
and I tried to wait as long as I could,
Hmm.
even though it was very difficult with the dysphoria. I transitioned when I was 20, so 4 years ago. Yeah, I
Wow.
started testosterone when I was 20, and uh, I got top surgery uh, in 2020. So what is that?
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
in
that's
November
5 years.
20.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
5 years coming up. Yeah, wow.
So and then I got my hysterectomy over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, actually.
Okay. So you
Yeah,
did everything. You just went for it.
yeah, yeah,
I think it was so that's so one thing, let's discuss this because I remember one of the things when we were early creating our relationship with each other, one of the things you reached out to me for, which was I was very thankful because a lot of young people think I'm lying about it, which is so weird. It's just weird, dude. But that being said, it was atrophy, and I think you were struggling with some pain and some stuff, and you couldn't get any answers. I don't want to talk over you, but why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
yeah, yeah. I experienced a lot of pain after having sex, and
Hmm. Hmm.
it was like cramping and uh, very uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And yeah, I talked to you about
Yeah,
it, but I also
yeah.
saw your video. I think I saw it first.
Okay,
You made about your story experience with
great.
atrophy, and I talked to my trans doctors, and they didn't know. They didn't. They couldn't give me any answers to yeah, they couldn't give me any answers. But what was so weird, I talked to my regular doctor who knew nothing about trans people or the
Okay,
transition, and
right.
she said, um, she told me that it was atrophy because something about losing estrogen uh, can cause
Yep,
vaginal atrophy, and
that's right.
she told me that women right after they give birth experience vaginal atrophy because they
That's right.
like push the estrogen out somehow.
Mhm.
And I have problems in my nose, like the walls in my nose, they're always dry, and it's bothering me when I have to sleep and stuff. My trans doctor said it has nothing to do with testosterone. My regular doctor said, of course, it has something to do with losing estrogen. So, I mean, so frustrating.
Wow.
But then I got my hysterectomy, and so I got some papers after my hysterectomy, and in
Mhm.
those papers it said that I had signs of atrophy in my uterus, and I had a lot of cysts on my one ovary. Um, but remember, there wasn't any problem, right?
That's
Before.
right.
And I mean, I still experienced some pain and
Mhm.
then vaginal dryness, of course, after the
Mhm.
hysterectomy, and that's because atrophy can occur like many different places, right? So
Yep.
I had a little bit in my uterus, but I also had in the walls, and that's like, yeah,
Wow.
this surgery can't really help with
No,
that.
they
So
can't. So, are you struggling with some of those problems still, or did they pretty much go away? Did they take the cysts out, or they
yeah, yeah,
couldn't?
yeah.
Oh, they
No,
did.
yeah, they took everything out actually. Yeah, I'm doing so great today, and
Great.
yeah, it's due to a little secret I can tell you another time. I I randomly randomly discovered how I cured the atrophy, but I want to tell
Okay.
you afterwards.
Okay. Great.
It,
Thank you. I appreciate
it's
that.
super crazy, and it's really
Well,
amazing. Yeah,
that's amazing that you have that information. I had to figure it out on my own, right? Remember, I just like suffering. I almost actually died, even though people think I make that up. I actually almost seriously died from sept. I got septic because I had such an infection and it popped inside of me and just went crazy, dude. But that I had to figure it out. The same thing happened to me, but it makes sense for me because I transitioned 31 years ago, right? So it makes sense that they didn't understand what this is going to do to a female body. So because I'm on some level an experiment, as you are too, you're still an experiment. But why are you an experiment 30 years later after me? That doesn't make sense. So my point being is I did struggle with that and it was horrifying and it was insane and no one could help me and I had to figure it out all on my own on the internet and figure out the medicine I should be taking and I want to tell everybody out there the one thing that would have alleviated my atrophy and possibly Marcus's if they would have given us a vaginal suppository of estrogen, which is what they do for women, and they never even thought about doing that to me or even to Marcus. So these doctors don't. And then Marcus has told you the trans doctor, the one who's supposed to be the specialist, is like, no, dude, it's all good. And you're like, but I'm having cramps. And then the other doctor is like, dude, you got atrophy.
it's
What
that
world?
simple, right?
It's that simple. It's what world do we live in? Trans healthcare is a joke, dude. It's not real. It's not real. You know that, right?
They're specialists in trans activism. That's my
That's
opinion.
right.
Yeah,
That's what they are. The trans doctors, the trans therapists, the trans healthcare, it's all activism. It has nothing to do with understanding. They have no morals, dude. They don't have any ethics. They're so unethical giving. Well, anyway, I can go off. Me and you can literally go off on this nonsense. But you were 20 when you transitioned. That to me, of course, I'm 60. I'm like, that's young, but it isn't. You can literally make that choice. And I can see how you made the choice and your life. That's why people like you are so important to me because, I'm older and it's just a different space, but you're young and you're showing real transsexual dudes exist. And it did help you on so many levels. And how is your family dealing with it?
sure. Yeah, they're fine with it. When it comes to my parents in the beginning, it was of course very hard for
Yeah,
them,
totally.
and I would say
Yeah.
almost traumatic for them. But it was also traumatic for me to come out to them in some ways because
Mhm.
it is such a I don't wish this upon anyone, and I'm actually looking back, I'm actually glad that my parents were devastated when I came out to them because
Yeah,
that's an honest reaction. When you see some parents today,
that's
they're like, "Oh my God, oh I love it. What is your preferred pronoun? What is your
right.
name?"
Oh my
And
god,
it
dude.
is so fake.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
do these parents even understand what this means?
yeah.
Because it means that someday your kid will transition and sterilize themselves.
That's
How
right.
can you, as a parent, not feel sad about that in the beginning, at least?
Yeah,
Of course, you can get children in other ways, right? But still,
still.
so my parents went from being very devastated and didn't quite understand what it was
Mhm.
to now being the most supportive parents ever. And I think that
Excellent.
should be the way. or that should be the process for any parent.
Well, that's the healthy process. My parents the same way, dude. They lost their daughter. Like, let's just be real here. That's why our biology is important, right? My parents and your parents lost their daughter. That's devastating on some level, and so we have to be compassionate to our parents. And also, I think a lot of these new trans parents, some of them are kind of nutty, but I but I also think some of them are lost. Right? Some of them are listening to the doctors who are complete grifters, who are listening to the medical space, who are listening to these weirdos, and they don't have a choice, dude. I'm a parent, so and you can understand as being a youngster and having parents. We can all understand the space a parent is put in when somebody in a medical field goes, if you don't do this, your child is going to off themselves. Like, who says that? Who- And what
Yeah,
parent wouldn't be completely devastated and want to do it, right?
yeah, yeah. I feel bad for the parents,
Me too.
um, and it's also because I don't view being trans as like an identity.
That's right.
Uh,
Excellent.
I see it as a mental disorder, which is fine. Like I
That's
also
right.
deal with ADHD and I have
Yeah.
anxiety symptoms and stuff. And it doesn't make me less than. It's
Yeah.
just a fact about how my brain works.
That's right.
And so it's and that's why it's also devastating for parents to hear this. Like, mom and dad, I'm trans. They're like, you're not only coming out as trans, you're coming out as someone who struggles with your mental health.
Yes.
And that's why the parents shouldn't be like, oh yay. That would be weird.
It is weird because here's the other thing I want to ask you. Like, so let's say you get diagnosed with cancer, God forbid, right? Most people who I even know, I have friends who've been diagnosed with that, they get second and third opinions. Do they not? Most people who get diagnosed with something sort of life changing go to another couple specialists. Why do you think that's not happening in this space?
I don't know. I don't know. I
It,
understand the parents. It would make sense if the parents are already brainwashed or like woke
well, yeah,
and love
that's
the
right.
trans, the rainbow
That's
stuff.
right. Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
and you've said this before, and I think it's such a great argument. Like, if they trans doctors make it seem like gender dysphoria in children is like a death sentence. So if
That's
it is a diagnosis like cancer, let's say,
that's right.
you
Yep.
would go to other doctors. So if the parents to these children are, innocent and they don't know what to do, why wouldn't they go to other doctors? Again, it would
It's
make sense if they are brainwashed and believe in trans ideology, but what about the rest?
there you go.
Yeah.
So to me, it says exactly what you just said. They're brainwashed and they don't want to go to another doctor because they want their child to be trans. That's what I think. And there I said it. I I do. I believe there's some parents who actually, dude, did you see the new one with they have four trans? Did you do a reaction to that? I think
Not yet. I don't know
you
if
will.
I can
Please do it.
handle
Do
it.
it, dude. Could you do the best ones? Do it. You're so good. You are so good in your videos, dude. Because
Thank you.
you're less anime. I'm crazy, you know that, but I have a crazy energy. But you're so okay. I don't know if it's because you're Danish or what, but dude, it's your Danish, straightforward, no nonsensical coming to this. It's so good, dude, because you're just hit every fucking note, and you the okay. I'm totally blown away that people think it is actually possible for somebody to have four trans kids.
Statistically impossible. Impossible. Like,
Impossible. Even having one to me seems kind of impossible because I don't believe in trans kids. But that being said, wow, how are these people getting away with this? It's not so. I want to ask you this. I get maybe your kid wants to wear different clothes. Da, da, da. I'm so cool with that. I don't even care. But how are we as a society just pretending like these little kids know who they are enough to be taking some crazy ass medicine that is destroying them? How? I mean, I know it's a kind of crazy question I'm asking you, but how? How are people so manipulated into thinking it's okay to do that?
Well, I think it's the rhetoric. I think
Mm,
when they
mm,
it's about they so trans activists have changed the definition of trans.
that's right.
So it's like it's more like a personality trait rather than a mental disorder.
Mm,
So
mm,
if trans activists, tells
mm,
the public it's just who they are, talking about children. It's
mm.
just who they are, and it's beautiful. Trans is beautiful, and uh,
Wow,
and if they don't talk about the dysphoria part, of course they don't talk about it because they don't believe in it. They don't deal with it themselves.
that's right.
So they make it seem like it's just an identity. I think they also use some of the same rhetoric. Well, a lot of the same rhetoric from gay activists, right?
Yes,
Um, yeah,
yes,
like it's
yes.
just being gay, which it's not.
No, it
As we all
isn't.
know, it's not harmful to be gay, right? So I think they use that, you know,
Yeah, that's right.
rhetoric.
Rhetoric. That's the key word. Rhetoric. It is. But I'm just shocked that people are so easy, dude. They're easily manipulated. Remember where I come from. Back in the day, people didn't even think what I was doing was okay, like, let alone, like, just there, right? But then fast forward to today, and we never had kids, dude. In our community, we never touched kids. Kids were not on the table for any of the LGBT space, right? Kids just, nope, we don't want to talk about that. And then all of a sudden, kids became trans, and everybody was just sort of okay with it. And that is so against everything the community I know is about, which is wanting to get people to grow up to be happy and but gay and trans are just they're just not the same thing. It's you're literally changing someone's physical appearance with medication. You're not doing shit to a gay person. They're just gay, right? Like, how are those the same?
Yeah, you're like when being trans, an adult transsexual, you're sterilizing yourself. Like being gay, you're sleeping with the same sex. How's that the same?
It's not harmful. It's not harmful
No.
because also you can back out of it. Let's just say you're trying it on for size and then you decide later on, nope, it's actually not for me. No harm. No harm done. Maybe mentally you have some stuff to deal with, which you can go to therapy and deal with that, but whatever. But that can be completely fixed. Right. So you're not really harming. That's why I saying, and I think you're on the same space with me, but I think a lot of these kids are gay kids.
Yeah. And I also think a lot of them are straight. Like, yeah,
That's
because
right.
I
That's right.
think a lot of kids, very young kids, play
Mm,
with the opposite sex toys and
that's right.
clothing.
Yep.
Yeah, especially let's say in a household there's a single mother. She has a
Mm,
son and a daughter,
mhm,
and then the son likes to wear some of the mom's or the sister's dresses.
mhm,
Like, look at me, mom, I'm a princess. It's like
mhm.
that's normal because there's not a father in the house, right? And maybe the son wants to impress the mom, and this wants to be like his sister, right?
That's
And
right.
that doesn't make him gay as an adult, right? So it can be so many things.
That's
Or
right.
maybe these woke parents are like putting on the dress on the boy.
That's true, dude.
Yeah, you never know what's happening before they record. So
Oh my god, that makes my stomach drop. There's that one dude on TikTok. I think he's like, you probably know what I'm talking about. I think we've all done reaction to that guy. He has that one gay. I mean, he has that one because I think the kid is gay. I don't think the kid is trans. That one trans boy to girl, and parades her around everywhere, dude. It's like full. And I think he now has a couple more trans kids under his belt, and it's so disturbing because they're on camera. These are 10-year-olds, man. Have you ever seen my kid on anything I do? Ever? You never will. Ever. Ever. I think it's disgusting to put your child on the internet. I think it's non-consensual. What happens when they grow up? What happens if the kid is trans and really just wants to be a boy or a girl, and you plastered them all over the internet and right when they were 10 and 11?
yeah, what's it called? Like they want to live stealth. So people, yeah, they
That's
don't want
right.
to tell people that they're
That they're
opposite.
trans. That's right. and they have every right to do. On some level, I live that way. I mean, clearly I'm here and so are you, and I think we both do. We walk the world. You just walk the world as Marcus. Stealth, whatever that is, it just means we want to be men. That's all that really means. We just want people to see us as dudes and not as trans, because you said exactly what I believe. Trans is now an identity choice. It's not I like that's why we had to separate transsexual from transgender, because I don't believe I this is not my identity. Is not, I don't think it's yours.
No, because we transitioned for a reason. We don't want to be in the middle of gender or like something else but a man or a woman, right? So, yeah.
It's oh my god, it's a mess. It is such it is I know we laugh, but I think I can speak for myself and probably for Marcus. We don't want these kids to be in our space. How dare they? I mean, my god. What? Remember when you were a kid, you might like you even said I just figured it out. Me too. I didn't struggle as a kid, just so you know. I was a tomboy, but I would wear a dress here and there and do things and just all that stuff, right? My never did I ever say any of the shit that they're saying kids say, right? And also kids are saying they're trans. That is my red flag, right?
Right. They should know the word.
They should never know that word, because that word is false and they're giving these kids a false sense of something. I think I said I want to be a boy,
Mhm.
right? I want to be a man. I want to be a boy. I never said I want to be trans. That's where everything got derailed.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for my parents not doing this to me when I was a kid. Like that would
Damn.
be child abuse. I
Yep.
think transitioning children is child abuse, and I do not care who is doing this to the child. I don't care what degree they have.
Thank you.
I've said before in a video, like it could be a homeless man on the street, it can be a medical professional. It doesn't really matter because what will happen to the child if they receive the transition?
Yeah.
Horrible. It is abuse. So
It's sick. A child cannot, dude. A child can't consent to most things. If I just let my kid run wild here, dude, you have no idea. I have everything. Like, no, you can't have that.
right.
I mean, parenting. That's what parenting is: setting boundaries, saying no, do your homework, do this shit. Then we can go do that afterward. But I really feel somehow these certain parents who are trans parents are missing something in their life, so they're using their child to sort of make this situation up. I do not believe in trans kids. I don't believe that exists. I think it's sick and child abuse. So with that, do you notice in Denmark, are there detransitioners there now?
Well, not really. Not we
Okay,
don't see it.
interesting.
We don't see the
Interesting.
rise here as we see in America, but there's one who actually
One.
it's someone I know actually personally,
Wow. Wow.
and I knew him as a trans woman,
Okay.
but now he's back to being a male and living life as a man again, and
Yeah.
he has a lot of mental health issues and got you know well, those things got ignored in the system, and it's unacceptable. Of
Oh my
course, I
god.
mean, he was an adult, and my stance on that is I don't care that he was an adult because he has mental health issues and he
That's
has the
right.
right to be
That's right.
treated properly by the system, right? And so he's dealing with a borderline and some other stuff, childhood trauma, which
Mm.
you know, those things are in his papers. These trans doctors had access to his papers all along. They just ignore the papers, and I just think it's unacceptable. It's like you don't care about mentally ill people when you're
Yeah.
in that situation. Saying yes, of course you can have estrogen, of course you can have testosterone.
Yeah.
It's not okay because I there's nothing wrong with having a mental disorder,
Yeah.
so why can't you get the right treatment when you seek help? I just don't get it.
Because they have an agenda, dude. I really believe they do. The more trans people they make, they're building some weird. like infrastructure. So we're all collateral. Me and you aren't. We're solid, but those people are collateral damage. They don't care about them. They don't. You think they care about detransition? This country is out of control. You and I both know it, dude. I've probably interviewed 100 detransitioners. I'm not kidding, and they all have almost the same identical story: how they became trans, what trans was for them, why they did it. A lot of them have essay trauma, dude. A lot of them have just all. I'm like, why aren't you all looking at? There's an actual, line there. They're all on this one line, and all of them are dealing with some form of trauma. And no one addressed the trauma, and all of them got their hormones in literally 20 minutes at Planned Parenthood. I think I know the person you're talking about. Was that the person I interviewed?
Yeah, yeah.
She's a
And
sweet. Well, he
yeah,
was very sweet, but they came after him too, didn't they?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think he deleted his Twitter due to that. It's tough to be on the internet and
Oh,
being right.
oh,
uh, yeah,
dude.
and not only was he on estrogen for years, he also got his balls removed, his testicles removed, and they can't come. They don't. That's irreversible. That surgery is,
Totally.
yeah. Luckily, he didn't get the entire bottom surgery. Uh,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
very good. He didn't do that, but
Yes. Yes.
still, it's like these trans
But
doctors look at his papers. Oh, he has mental health issues. He has SA trauma. Let's cut off his balls.
what?
What are they doing?
They're
It's
experimenting with us. They're literally using us to experiment. That's what I'm trying to. We're all trying to wave the red flag here. Like what? Like the fact that they don't even look at any of your background. You know the extensive stuff I had to go through back in the day, and that's what I advocate for. I don't care. I'm a gatekeeper. I'm 100% a gatekeeper because it reflects on Marcus and I when these kind of crappy ass things are done, then everybody just thinks we're all crazy wingnuts and we shouldn't be doing this. That's you know the fallout that's going to come from this, my friend. It's going to hit us hard.
Yeah. I'm scared.
Me
I
too.
I'm not looking forward to see the even bigger rise in detransitioners in the future. I'm so mortified, like already.
Me too.
When I look at the people also here in my country, uh, actually getting the testosterone, I'm thinking of girls right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is so
Mm-hmm.
scary to see how many mentally ill girls get testosterone just because they ask for it, and they yeah, they would look like us, and they can never go back, even though
Never.
it is a phase. In their cases, it is a phase for them,
That's right.
identifying as trans, and yeah, they're going to be out
Sick.
in the future. It's yeah,
No,
it's not
no.
okay.
Every single one they're messed up, dude. They're messed up mentally because they know they're never going to go back to actually looking the way they used to. Their voices, right? Some of them are sterilized. They can't have babies. Some of them remove their breasts, right? Some of them had hysterectomies as quickly as you sort of did, right? And without even having it is up. I mean, I can't even saying this, dude. Like I fought for us to get to this space. Me and many of the other guys back in the day. We fought so we could just easily transition and move on. And they abused our system. These people have abused the system we built. And it's why we have to talk about these what they call what trenders. Trends. I'm so old, dude. I'm like, what is it called? A trender?
Yeah,
But they are. They're literally trenders. They're not even trans, and they're the ones who speak over top of you and I, and they're the ones who are creating the mess. But it's actually stop. I hope that you see a light at the end of the tunnel because I do.
yeah. No, I do.
Yeah,
I'm on that. Yeah, I'm optimistic. I think a lot of
yeah,
people they have
yeah.
they know what's going on, and they can see right through this trans ideology. I
Wow.
also want to say that my trans doctor is the same doctor as the guy the detransitioner had, and
Oh
we
wow.
we have talked about the process of getting the transition right. we
Yeah,
have we've had the same process. Does that make sense? Like
yeah,
we went through the same process, like
yeah.
detail after detail. It's so scary. I didn't experience any gatekeeping. So it's
See,
only due to pure luck that
that's right.
I'm happy today, and I'm not regretting my transition, and I am actually happy as a
That's
person.
right.
That's just because I happen to be right that my mental health struggles or my mental health issues was gender dysphoria.
That's
It
right.
was
But
yeah.
it's the luck of the draw. You're the luck. You're one of those lucky ones. But what about all the other collateral damage, right? And to say you 100% got lucky, but it's only because you also knew. But you were also 20 or something when you were starting to transition. But that being said, you thank you for saying that, Marcus. It means a lot to me that you're so honest about that, and that you realize that you slid through the system, but only because you really are trans, and you really. But of all the other 9 out of you're the 1 out of 10 that made it. The other 9 are gonna struggle. So with that, do you think your system in Denmark is also very similar to the system here where people can just slide through it?
It's better today. It's better. They
Okay.
have received a lot
Okay.
of pushback, so and it's actually due to some of the work I've done here,
Yes.
political work I've done.
Yes.
And yeah,
Thank you.
it's becoming a lot better here, and I'm so excited. However, I just still see women with the septum piercings, the blue hair, you know, the the watermelon in their bio, and
Oh, the
yeah,
watermelon. Oh man, you know how that makes me? Oh, and you. So yeah, not cool, dude.
I still see them. I still see them on testosterone, and of course they can get it illegally. And I hope, in some weird ways, that's the case, but I don't think so.
Wow,
I
just
still see
wow.
too many young women transition here today. It's devastating. So I don't think, and
Wow.
I don't think a lot is happening. I think it's only small. I only see small
Yeah.
improvements in the system,
Well, at least
unfortunately.
that's some, because not here, dude. It's literally gone off the deep end. You can literally go on the internet and get testosterone after a 20-minute like thing. I'm not going to name the companies because I'm trying to go
Uh,
after them. They need to be they should be illegal. Those companies, there's no way they should be able to do that. Like you don't even have to go into a doctor's office. You just have to talk to a nurse on Zoom, and then in 20
yeah.
minutes you pay $150 and they send you a box, dude, like a gift box with needles and shit. And because I had my buddy do it because I wanted to see, and he got a box of testosterone after a 20-minute intake. Wow, do you know how
This
hard?
the same. This I know which company you're talking about, and
Yeah, I know.
unfortunately, you can do this here too, which doesn't make
What?
sense because it's not, it's not a company located in my country, and you can pick up the testosterone at the pharmacy, at the local pharmacy. It's
What is going
desperate.
on, dude? This is a controlled substance. Testosterone is an actual controlled substance. I am shocked. It's like, why don't we just give everybody cocaine? You know what I mean? Like, like you're an addict. No worries, dude. Just go on and we'll take a little intake and we'll send you a box of cocaine. It's that absurd.
Right.
What the fuck, dude? Oh,
I
well,
hate.
anyways, Mark, I love you, dude. You're so awesome. I just feel really happy. You all know I love being connected to these young guys because you're the future of our so quote unquote community, but you're the future of the bringing us back to some level of sanity and really showing that I think it's really important that an older generation and the younger generation are solid together so that you can see when Marcus gets to be my age, he's solid. You know what I mean? And this guy is totally on that same. And then I lived 30 years and I was solid, right? So it's important for us to be in front of the camera, and it's why I value you so much, my friend, because you will save lives. If you haven't already, you are saving lives, friend.
Well, thank you. I mean, you're one of my favorite people ever. I have actually received DMs from young girls saying that they're now not on testosterone due to me, and
Oh,
that makes me just
that's
I
it.
cry when I read DMs like that. Like,
Yeah,
how can my videos? So I'm just happy that I can help at
you're
least.
doing the work. You're doing the work and the universe loves you for it. That's why you have a beautiful life. I know your life. You have a beautiful life. You do. And you're really, to me, this is sort of epitome of what some young person does to transition and moves on. You're not whining. You're not on the internet crying about something. You're not, you're literally making a business, which is also, me, I'm a businessman. So I'm like, this dude is creating his own businesses. It's everything. The freedom to create your own business, dude, and has nothing to do with being trans. It has everything to do with being a solid human being. And so, before we close here, is there anything maybe you'd want to say out there to the world or to anybody?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I have moved on. I don't of course I know that I'm trans and of course I know that I'm a biological female, but I have moved on. So yes, I call my channel the offensive tranny, but I mean, I got to get people's attention somehow. Um, and why not have some fun with it?
That's right.
Because being trans is not that fun. It's
No.
not a lifestyle that I would wish upon anyone. So I'm trying to make the best, or I'm trying to make this situation yeah as good as possible. And yeah, I've moved on. My mental health is just a lot better,
Mhm.
and I also feel like the reason why we connect so well is because I'm an old soul. I've been
You
told
are.
before, and
Yeah.
that is due to my transition.
Mm.
Because again, struggling with your mental health makes
Mm.
you grow up a little bit quicker, and I'm happy being an old soul. I
Yeah.
have friends who are older than me, a boyfriend who's older than me, and that just it works for me, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just a happy human being, and I want to.
Absolutely.
I talk about mental health mostly on my channel, and
Mhm.
I hope to improve other people's mental health
Yeah.
by saying it's okay to be a woman, it's okay to be a man, and it's also okay to be gender dysphoric.
That's
So
right.
yeah,
Well, that's why it's so powerful because because you're also being honest about where you come from, right? Your honesty with your biology, your honesty with your mental health issues, your honesty with the transition and what it's done for you. That's what I've always said. When you're honest to people, they're so cool with us. The world likes us, dude. I walk the world with no problems. The problems come from the trans community, which is kind of absurd if you think about it. But you put yourself back in the world, and that was the whole point of your transition, to live comfortably. And you're doing the work, dude, and you're being visible, and you're creating space for other people to see they don't have to transition. You can even live with your dysphoria without transitioning. Many people do it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, of
many.
course, yeah,
That's right. So I think we need to acknowledge that, and we need to also put that into the air for these young people. You don't have to transition. Just be in your dysphoria, and it's okay. Maybe change your shirt and put a hat on one day and put makeup on the next day. Like, you can literally do that. It's all good, however it makes you feel. So I really value your friendship, Marcus. I value you as also a content creator. You're fucking awesome and killing it. And everyone, please, you probably all follow him already anyway. But if you're not, please subscribe to his channel. Send him love because he's one of my favorite people in the world. And with that, I'll see you guys all on the live on Wednesday. And have an awesome rest of your day.